All right, so question one, a certain type of base contains brass, excuse me. A certain type of brass contains 65% copper. How many pounds of copper contain 120 pounds of brass? All right, so when we're looking at this problem, remember we're going to be using the percent proportion. And so just to remind you, we have part over whole equals percent over 100, right? And uh, we had talked about how the percent. And so percent means per 100, right? And so that's why we're going to have our percent over 100 every time because it means per 100. And if you have the whole amount, right? If you have the whole amount, that's 100%. So that's why it's going to go on the bottom as well with the 100. And the part that we have is equal to the percentage that we have. So that's why those will both be on top. So in this problem, it talks about 65%. So percent is always going to go over 100 because it means 65 hundredths or 65 out of 100. Then I read and it goes, how many pounds of copper are contained in 120 pounds of brass, right? So the 120 pounds of brass is my whole amount. So that's going to go right here as my whole. And I set up now my proportion, which is x over 120 equals 65 hundredths. Remember, we always talk about finding a relationship. I'm going to raise the percent. We always try to find a relationship going from, I can either go left to right or up and down, right? So in this case, I don't see the relationship between 65 and 100 or 100 and 120. So in that case, right, we always simplify our ratio. So I can simplify 65 hundredths, right? I can divide both by 65 and by 5. 65 divided by 5 turns into 13. 100 divided by 5 is equal to 20. So now I can see a relationship between 20 and 120. I'm looking for a scale factor. What am I multiplying 20 by to get to 120, right? And so that is the times 6. And so the same thing happens to my 13. I have to do 13 times 6. And so doing 13 times 6, 6 times 3 is 18, 78. And so my answer would be 78 pounds of copper. So let me break that down. So there we go. So again, we set up the proportion, and then sometimes we might simplify, sometimes we might not, and we just find that relationship.